The taste of blood filled my mouth as I lay dying on that rain-soaked highway, 26 years old and full of regrets. My last coherent thought wasn't about my unfinished dreams or career. It was about Ryan Mitchell, and how I'd been too much of a coward to tell him I loved him. Then I woke up at 17 again. I'm Salena Torres, and I know how insane this sounds. But when you open your eyes in your childhood bedroom, staring at a One Direction poster you definitely threw away years ago, with your phone showing March the 15th, 2018, 9 years in the past, you either accept the impossible or lose your mind. The memories hit me like waves. My best friend Jessica's wedding to Ryan 3 years from now. The speeches where everyone called them perfect for each other. How I'd smiled through every moment while dying inside, knowing I'd pushed them together with my own hands. This time would be different. I stumbled to the mirror, touching my teenage face. The scar from my motorcycle accident at 19 was gone. My hands were softer, unmarked by years of working late shifts to pay for college. I looked exactly like I had at 17, but my mind held 26 years of experience, heartbreak, and a single burning mission. Don't let Jessica steal Ryan again. My phone buzzed with a text from Jessica herself. Movie night tonight. Ryan's coming too. The emoji made my stomach clench. Even at 17, Jessica had been shameless about her crush on Ryan. But this time, I knew something she didn't. I knew exactly what would happen if I stepped aside again. I grabbed my keys and drove to Riverside Park, our usual hangout spot. Ryan was already there, sitting on our favourite bench overlooking the water, his dark hair catching the afternoon sun. At 17, he still had that boyish charm that would later mature into devastating handsomeness. My heart did the same stupid flip it always did when I saw him. "Sal," he grinned, patting the bench beside him. "You're early. Jess said movie night got moved to 7. I sat down closer than I used to dare. "I wanted to talk to you first." Something in my voice made him turn serious. Those green eyes I dreamed about for years focused on me with an intensity that made my breath catch. "What's wrong? You sound different." Of course I sounded different. I was different. 26-year-old wisdom trapped in a 17-year-old body. And I was done wasting time. "Ryan, do you remember when we first met?" He smiled, confused, but willing to play along. "Of course. First day of sophomore year, you sat next to me in chemistry. You were so nervous you knocked over the Bunsen burner. And you caught it before it hit the ground." "Best reflexes in school," he said with mock pride. "You asked me if I was okay, and I was so embarrassed I could barely speak. But you just laughed and said embarrassing moments make the best stories." His expression softened. "You weren't embarrassing, Sal. You were adorable." My heart hammered. He'd never said that before, or maybe he had, and I'd been too flustered to hear it properly. "What made you want to be friends with me?" I asked. Ryan was quiet for a moment, watching the water. "Honestly, you were the first person who didn't want something from me. Everyone else wanted to date me, or be seen with me, or copy my homework. You just liked me for me." The irony was crushing. I'd wanted to date him more than anyone, but I'd hidden it so well he thought I was the only one who didn't. "Ryan, I need to tell you something important." Before I could continue, Jessica's car pulled into the parking lot. She climbed out wearing a tight pink dress that showed off her figure. Definitely not movie-watching attire. Her blonde hair was perfectly curled, makeup flawless. Even at 17, Jessica knew how to make an entrance. "There you are!" she called, practically bouncing over to us. "I've been looking everywhere for you two." I watched Ryan's face as Jessica approached. In my original timeline, this was the moment everything changed. Jessica would suggest we watch a romantic movie, engineer ways to sit next to Ryan, and slowly but surely begin her campaign to win him over. Actually, Jess, I said, standing up, I was just telling Ryan about my feelings for him. Both of them froze. Jessica's smile faltered and Ryan's eyes widened. Your feelings? Jessica's voice was carefully controlled. I'm in love with you, Ryan, I said, looking directly at him. I have been since that first day in chemistry, and I'm tired of pretending I'm not. The silence stretched between us like a taut wire. Jessica's face went through several expressions: shock, hurt, and finally, anger. Salena, what are you doing? She whispered. But I only had eyes for Ryan. His mouth was slightly open, and he was staring at me like he was seeing me for the first time. I don't understand, he said slowly. You never seemed. I hid it because I thought you'd never look at me that way. But I can't hide it anymore. Jessica stepped between us, her voice rising. Sal, this is crazy. You're going to ruin everything. Ryan, she's just confused. Jess, Ryan's voice was quiet but firm. Let her talk. I stepped around Jessica to face him directly. I know this is sudden. I know you might not feel the same way. But I couldn't spend another day pretending to be just your friend when every time you smile at me, my whole world lights up. Ryan ran a hand through his hair, looking overwhelmed. Sal, I need time to think about this. Of course. I tried to keep the disappointment out of my voice. Take all the time you need. Jessica grabbed my arm as Ryan walked away. What the hell was that, Salena? I pulled free from her grip. That was me finally being honest. Honest? You just ambushed him. And me. You know I like him too. I know you think you like him, I said carefully. But Jess, do you really love him? Or do you just love the idea of dating the most popular guy in school? Her face flushed red. How dare you? Because if you really loved him, you'd want him to be happy, even if it wasn't with you. And you think he'd be happy with you? Salena, look at yourself. You're sweet, but you're not. You're not the kind of girl guys like Ryan date. The words hit like physical blows. But I'd heard worse from my own inner voice over the years. This time, though, I had something I'd never had before. The knowledge that I was wrong to believe them. Maybe you're right, I said, but at least now he knows how I feel. And if he chooses you, it'll be a real choice, not just because I was too scared to try. Jessica's expression shifted from anger to something almost like pity. Sal, I don't want this to come between us. We've been best friends since 3rd grade. Then don't let it, I said. Whatever happens with Ryan, that's between him and us individually. You don't own him, and neither do I. That night, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, my phone silent. In my original timeline, movie nights always ended with a group text recapping the evening, inside jokes and plans for the next day. Tonight, there was nothing. But for the first time in 9 years, or maybe for the first time ever, I'd been completely honest about what I wanted. Whatever happened next, I wouldn't have to live with the regret of never trying. I had no idea that my confession had set off a chain of events that would change everything I thought I knew about Ryan Mitchell, Jessica's true nature, and the power of speaking your truth, even when it terrifies you. The real story was just beginning. 3 days passed without a word from Ryan. I caught glimpses of him in the hallways, but he'd duck his head and disappear into the crowd whenever our eyes met. Jessica, meanwhile, launched into full offensive mode. Ryan seems really stressed lately, she announced at lunch, loud enough for half the cafeteria to hear. I think someone put him in an uncomfortable position. I stabbed my salad harder than necessary. Maybe he's just processing his feelings. Or maybe he's trying to figure out how to let someone down easy without hurting their feelings. Madison Chen. No, wait, I couldn't use that name. Madison Cooper leaned forward with obvious interest. What happened? Did someone ask Ryan out? Something like that, Jessica said, shooting me a meaningful look. Before I could respond, Trevor Kim slid into the seat next to me. Hey, Salena, you okay? You look like you want to murder that lettuce. Trevor had always been kind to me, in a way that I dismissed as mere friendship in my original timeline. Looking at him now with adult eyes, I noticed things I'd missed before. How his gaze lingered on my face. How he always saved the seat next to him for me. How his smile was different when he looked at me versus other girls. I'm fine, I said, then caught myself. 26-year-old me knew better than to brush off genuine concern. Actually, no, I'm not fine, but I will be. Trevor's dark eyes were warm with understanding. Want to talk about it after school? Jessica's fork clattered against her plate. Actually, Trevor, Salena and I already have plans. I turned to stare at her. No, we don't. We need to work on our history project, remember? There was no history project. Jessica was trying to control the situation, just like she had in my original timeline. But this time, I saw through her manipulation. The project isn't due for 3 weeks, I said calmly. Trevor, I'd like that. Meet me at my locker after 7th period? Trevor's smile could have powered the whole school. Definitely. As he walked away, Jessica grabbed my wrist. What are you doing? You can't lead Trevor on when you're supposedly in love with Ryan. I'm not leading anyone on. Trevor asked if I wanted to talk, and I do. This is about making Ryan jealous, isn't it? The accusation hit too close to home, but not for the reasons Jessica thought. In my original timeline, I'd been too focused on Ryan to notice Trevor's genuine interest. I wasn't going to make the same mistake twice. Not everything is about Ryan, I said, saw the town. That afternoon, Trevor and I walked to Maple Street Cafe, a tiny place that served the best hot chocolate in town. As we settled into a corner booth, I realised this was the first time I'd ever been alone with him outside of group study sessions. So, he said, stirring extra marshmallows into his drink, want to tell me why you looked ready to commit violence against cafeteria food? Despite everything, I laughed. It's complicated. Complicated usually means boy trouble. How did you know? Trevor shrugged, but there was something careful in his expression. Lucky guess. Is it someone I know? The honest answer would have been Ryan, but sitting across from Trevor, seeing the way he really looked at me, I found myself saying, I think I've been so focused on wanting something I couldn't have that I missed what was right in front of me. Trevor's hand stilled on his mug. What do you mean? Before I could answer, the cafe door chimed, and Ryan walked in with Alex Turner, one of his basketball teammates. My stomach dropped as Ryan's eyes found mine across the room. He approached our table, his expression unreadable. Salena, Trevor. Ryan. I kept my voice steady. How are you? I'm good. Can I talk to you for a minute? Alone. Trevor started to get up, but I put my hand on his arm. Whatever you want to say, you can say it here. Trevor's my friend. Ryan's jaw tightened. Fine. I've been thinking about what you said the other day. My heart hammered, but I forced myself to look calm. And I think you caught me off guard because I never saw you that way before. You were always just Salena, safe, comfortable. The words stung, but I'd expected them. And now I don't know what to think. But seeing you here with Trevor, I realised maybe I don't like the idea of you being with someone else. Trevor's posture shifted beside me, tension radiating from him. I felt caught between them, but this time I had the wisdom to recognise the game being played. Ryan, I said carefully, do you have feelings for me? Or are you just not used to not having my undivided attention? His face flushed. That's not fair. It's a fair question. 3 days ago, I was safe and comfortable. Now that I might be interested in someone else, suddenly you're reconsidering. That sounds like possession, not love. Alex shifted uncomfortably. Dude, maybe we should go. But Ryan ignored him, his green eyes blazing. You think you know everything about how I feel? I know you never gave me a second thought until I stopped orbiting around you. Trevor cleared his throat. Maybe I should stay, I said firmly, then looked back at Ryan. If you have something to say to me, say it. But don't expect me to wait around while you figure out whether you actually want me or just want me to want you. Ryan stared at me for a long moment, then turned and walked out without another word. Alex hurried after him, mumbling apologies. The silence in the cafe felt deafening. Well, Trevor said finally, that was intense. I buried my face in my hands. I'm sorry, you didn't sign up for drama when you asked if I wanted to talk. Actually, I think I did. Trevor's voice was gentle. Salena, can I ask you something? I looked up at him through my fingers. Sure. That speech you just gave Ryan about orbiting around him, did you realize you were talking about yourself? The question hit me like a physical blow. Well, what do you mean? I mean, you've spent so long focused on Ryan that you never noticed anyone else might be interested in you, including me. My hands dropped to the table. Trevor? I have liked you since sophomore year, he continued, his voice steady despite the vulnerability in his eyes. But you were so obviously into Ryan that I never said anything. I figured I'd rather be your friend than nothing at all. The parallel to my own situation wasn't lost on me. How many people had made the same choice I had, loving in silence rather than risking everything? Why are you telling me this now? Because watching you stand up to Ryan just now, seeing you demand to be treated with respect, that's the bravest thing I've ever seen. And I realised that if you can be that brave, maybe I can be too. I studied Trevor's face, really seeing him for the first time. He was handsome in a quiet way, with kind eyes and a smile that never felt calculated. More importantly, he saw me, not some idealised version, not a consolation prize, but actually me. Trevor, I need to be completely honest with you. My feelings are complicated right now. I know, and I'm not asking you to figure everything out tonight. I'm just asking you to consider that maybe there are other possibilities besides Ryan Mitchell. As we walked back towards school, I found myself thinking about choices and second chances. In my original timeline, I'd been so blinded by my obsession with Ryan that I'd missed every other opportunity for happiness. This time, I was determined to keep my eyes open. What I didn't know was that Jessica had been watching us through the cafe window, her phone in her hand, already composing a text that would change everything. The real game was just beginning. Jessica's text arrived at 11:47 p.m. We need to talk tomorrow, before first period. This has gone too far. I stared at the message, knowing exactly what was coming. In my original timeline, Jessica had been subtly manipulative. This time, with her plans disrupted, she was about to show her true colours. The next morning, I found her waiting by my locker, arms crossed and eyes blazing. She had clearly lost sleep. Her usually perfect makeup couldn't hide the dark circles, and her blonde hair lacked its typical shine. You're destroying everything, she said without preamble. Good morning to you too, Jess. Don't play cute with me, Salena. I saw you with Trevor yesterday. You're trying to make Ryan jealous and it's working, but not the way you think. I spun my combination slowly, buying time. What did you do? I told him the truth, that you're playing games using Trevor to get his attention. My hand stilled on the lock. You did what? Someone had to protect him from your manipulation. The word hit me like a slap. My manipulation? Jessica, listen to yourself. You're so desperate to have Ryan that you're willing to sabotage our friendship. I'm trying to save our friendship, and I'm trying to save you from making a fool of yourself. Her voice cracked slightly. Sal, you don't understand what you're doing. Ryan called me last night. My stomach dropped. And he was confused, hurt. He said he never realized how manipulative you could be, how you were playing him against Trevor. Jessica's eyes filled with tears that looked genuine. He asked me to help him figure out what to do. And what did you tell him? I told him that the Salena I know would never intentionally hurt anyone, that you must be going through something and acting out of character. I wanted to believe she was trying to help, but 26 years of experience had taught me to recognize manipulation, even when it wore the mask of concern. How generous of you to defend me, I said dryly. I also told him that maybe he should give you some space to figure out what you really want, and that if he needed someone to talk to, I'd be there for him. There it was, the real agenda wrapped in false friendship. Jessica, do you hear yourself? You're orchestrating this entire situation to position yourself as Ryan's confidant while making me look unstable. Her face flushed up. That's not what I'm doing. Then what are you doing? Because from where I'm standing, it looks like you're willing to throw away 9 years of friendship for a chance with a boy who's never shown genuine interest in you. He has shown interest. The words burst out of her like a dam breaking. You just never paid attention because you were too busy mooning over him yourself. The way he smiles at me, how he always laughs at my jokes, how he hugs me longer than other girls. Those are called basic social skills, Jess. Ryan is nice to everyone. You don't know him like I do. The bell rang, cutting off our argument, but Jessica grabbed my arm as I started to walk away. Salena, please, just back off. You said yourself you never thought he'd look at you that way. I've been working toward this for 2 years. Don't ruin it now because you finally got desperate enough to throw yourself at him. The cruelty in her words took my breath away. This was my best friend, the girl I'd shared secrets with, the one I'd comforted through her parents' divorce, who'd held my hair back when I had food poisoning junior year. You know what, Jessica? You're right about one thing. I am finally desperate enough to fight for what I want. But I'm not throwing myself at anyone. And if Ryan chooses you after this conversation, then maybe you two deserve each other. I pulled free from her grip and walked into first period, my hands shaking with anger and hurt. During lunch, Trevor approached my table where I sat alone. Mind if I sit? Please do. I could use some normal human interaction. He settled across from me, studying my face. Rough morning? You could say that. Jessica informed me that she's told Ryan I'm using you to make him jealous. Trevor's expression darkened. Are you? The direct question deserved an honest answer. Part of me wondered if I might be, which is why I'm glad you asked. The truth is, yesterday at the cafe, when you told me how you felt, it was the first time in years someone looked at me and saw me worth pursuing. Not as a consolation prize or a safety net, but as someone genuinely desirable. And that made you feel valued, seen. And yes, it made me question whether I've been chasing the wrong person all along. Trevor leaned back, processing. So, where does that leave us? I don't know yet, but I do know that whatever happens between you and me, it should happen because we want it to, not because I'm running away from something else or trying to prove a point. I can live with that honesty. Good, because there's more. Ryan is going to confront you today. Jessica probably told him that you're just a pawn in some elaborate scheme I've cooked up. Trevor's jaw tightened. Let him come. I can handle Ryan Mitchell. As if summoned by our conversation, Ryan appeared at our table, flanked by Alex and 2 other basketball players. The territorial display was so obvious, it would have been laughable if it weren't so pathetic. "Trevor," Ryan said, his voice carefully controlled, "can I have a word?" "Sure." Trevor didn't move. "Go ahead." "Alone?" "Anything you want to say to me, you can say in front of Salena. She's not going anywhere." Ryan's green eyes flashed with irritation. "Fine. I want you to back off. Salena is going through something right now, and she's not thinking clearly. She's using you to get to me, and when this whole thing blows over, you're going to get hurt." Trevor stood slowly, and I was surprised by how imposing he looked. He wasn't as tall as Ryan, but there was something solid and unshakable about him. "You know what I think, Mitchell. I think you're scared." "Of what?" "Of losing control. Salena spent 3 years orbiting around you, making you feel important and wanted without you having to do any work for it. Now, she's got other options, and suddenly you can't take her for granted anymore." Ryan stepped closer, his hands clenched. "You don't know what you're talking about." "Don't I? Because from where I'm standing, you look like a guy who never wanted something until someone else did." The cafeteria around us had gone quiet, students sensing the tension and turning to watch the drama unfold. "Ryan, stop!" I stood up, moving between them. "This isn't about territory or ownership. I'm not a prize to be won." "Then what is this about?" Ryan demanded. "Because Jessica says you're playing games, and Trevor says I'm scared and I don't know what to believe anymore." The raw confusion in his voice almost broke my heart. Almost. "It's about me finally having enough self-respect to demand better," I said quietly. "From all of you." I picked up my bag and walked away from both of them, leaving them staring after me. That afternoon, I found a note in my locker. "Meet me at Riverside Park after school. We need to finish our conversation. R." This time, I wasn't going alone. Trevor met me at my car after school, his expression determined. "I'm coming with you. This isn't your fight." It became my fight the moment Ryan decided I was some pawn in a game. He leaned against the passenger door. "Besides, you said you weren't going alone." As we drove to Riverside Park, my phone buzzed with another text from Jessica. "Whatever he tells you, remember he's confused right now. Don't let him say something he'll regret." I showed Trevor the message. He snorted. "She's still trying to control the narrative. She's scared. I caught myself before mentioning my previous timeline. "I think she's realizing her plan isn't working." We arrived to find Ryan pacing by the bench where this had all started. When he saw Trevor with me, his face darkened. "I said alone, Salena. And I decided I wanted backup. Whatever you have to say it." Ryan looked between us, then ran his hands through his hair in frustration. "Fine. I've been thinking about everything. What you said, what Trevor said, what Jessica told me. And Jessica said you were manipulating both of us. But the more I thought about it, the less sense it made. You've never been manipulative, Sal. You're the most honest person I know." Trevor stepped closer to me, a silent show of support that didn't go unnoticed. Ryan's jaw clenched. So I asked myself why Jessica would say that, and then I remembered something. "What?" "Last year, at Madison's party, you went home early with a headache. Jessica cornered me in the kitchen and told me she thought you had feelings for me, but that I shouldn't act on it because it would ruin our friendship." My blood went cold. "She what?" "She said you were too fragile to handle rejection, that it was better to pretend I didn't know." Ryan's green eyes were bright with anger. "I believed her because I trusted her, because she was your best friend." The betrayal hit me like a physical blow. Jessica hadn't just competed with me. She'd actively sabotaged any chance I might have had. "There's more," Ryan continued. "I called Madison yesterday to ask if she remembered that night. She said Jessica spent most of the party talking about how perfect we'd be together and how she was going to help me realize it. Trevor's hand found mine warm and steady. She's been playing both sides. For over a year, Ryan confirmed. Maybe longer. Every time I started to think about you differently, Jessica was there with reasons why I shouldn't pursue it. She was protecting our friendship, she said, looking out for both of us. The puzzle pieces clicked into place. Jessica's convenient interruptions whenever Ryan and I had moments alone. Her suggestions for group activities that put her in the spotlight. Her constant subtle reminders that I wasn't Ryan's type. "Why are you telling me this now?" I asked. Ryan stepped closer, his voice dropping. "Because seeing you with Trevor made me realize something. I don't want to lose you, but not because I'm possessive or scared of competition. Then why?" "Because I've been half in love with you for 2 years, and I was too much of a coward to risk our friendship by telling you." The words I dreamed of hearing for so long hit differently now. In my original timeline, I would have melted, would have thrown myself into his arms and forgotten everything else. But 26-year-old wisdom had taught me to look deeper. "Ryan, how do I know this isn't just because Jessica's manipulations got exposed? How do I know you actually see me and not just some idealized version you've created now that you can't have me?" Pain flashed across his face. "Because I've seen you, Sal. I've always seen you, the way you bite your lip when you're concentrating, how you hum when you think no one's listening, how your eyes light up when you're passionate about something. I've memorized every detail about you, but I convinced myself it was just friendship because Jessica kept telling me that's all it could be." Trevor's grip on my hand tightened, but he didn't let go. "I know I don't deserve a chance," Ryan continued. "I know I hurt you by not being brave enough to fight for what I wanted. But if there's any part of you that still feels what you felt 3 days ago, I'm asking you to give me a chance to prove that I'm worth it." Before I could respond, Jessica's car screeched into the parking lot. She jumped out, her face wild with panic. "Ryan, don't listen to whatever lies she's telling you." "The only lies came from you, Jess," Ryan said coldly. Jessica's gaze darted between the three of us, clearly realizing her world was crumbling. "I was protecting both of you. Salena, you know you would have been devastated if he rejected you. And Ryan, you're too good for—" "Stop," I said quietly, but my voice carried enough authority to cut through her desperation. "Just stop. Sal, please, you have to understand." "I understand perfectly. You decided what was best for everyone without asking us. You manipulated situations, spread lies, and sabotaged relationships because you couldn't stand the thought that Ryan might choose someone other than you." Tears streamed down Jessica's face. "I love him." "No, you don't. You love the idea of winning him. There's a difference." "That's not true." Ryan stepped forward, his voice gentle but firm. "Jessica, I need you to hear this clearly. Even if Salena and I never happened, you and I never would have either. I've never seen you as anything more than a friend, and I never will." Jessica's face crumpled as the truth finally hit her. All her scheming, all her manipulation, all the friendships she damaged. None of it mattered, because Ryan had never been a possibility for her. She looked at me one last time, her expression a mixture of grief and rage. "You'll regret this, Salena. Both of you will." Then she got back in her car and drove away, leaving the three of us in silence. "Well," Trevor said finally, "that was dramatic." I turned to look at him. This kind, patient boy who'd waited 2 years for his chance, who'd supported me even when he thought I might choose someone else. "Trevor, I owe you an apology." "For what?" "For not seeing you sooner. For being so focused on someone else that I missed something beautiful right in front of me." His smile was sad, but understanding. "And now?" I looked between Trevor and Ryan, both watching me with hopeful, vulnerable expressions. both deserving of honesty. Now, I choose me, I said. I choose to take time to figure out what I actually want, not what I think I should want or what I've always wanted. I choose to stop letting other people's expectations or manipulations dictate my decisions. Ryan's face fell, but he nodded. I respect that. Good. Because if you're serious about wanting a chance with me, you'll prove it by being patient, by showing me who you are when you're not reacting to competition or pressure. And me? Trevor asked. I stepped closer to him, close enough to see the gold flecks in his dark eyes. You've already shown me who you are. The question is whether you're willing to wait while I figure out who I am. For you. I've got time. 6 months later, I was dating Trevor exclusively, and Ryan had transferred schools after the Jessica situation made things too awkward. He'd written me a letter before leaving, thanking me for forcing him to confront his own cowardice and wishing me happiness. Jessica had been ostracized after her manipulation came to light. Madison had told everyone about the lies she'd spread. She tried to rebuild bridges, but the damage was too severe. Last I heard, she transferred to private school and was seeing a therapist about her controlling behaviour. As for me, I discovered that Trevor's patient, genuine love was everything I'd never known I needed. He saw all of me, my flaws, my fears, my fierce independence, and loved me not despite them, but because of them. Standing in Trevor's arms at prom, I realised that getting my second chance hadn't been about winning Ryan back. It had been about learning to value myself enough to demand the love I deserved. And this time, I got it right.